More of our interview with Professor Akinyeye when we return. To stay with us. A brief look at other discussions in diplomatic circles. Clashes continued on Sunday between Israelis and Palestinians over the installation of security cameras at the entrance of a Jerusalem holy site, revered both by Muslims and Jews. Israeli officials dispersed protesters in the West Bank who hurled stones at them. The latest development has triggered the bloodiest confrontations with the Palestinians in years. Meanwhile, the Israeli embassy in Jordan was attacked on Sunday, leading to the death of one person and another being injured. Jordan, which is the custodian of Muslim holy sites in the city of Jerusalem, is against the installation of the gadgets. While Israel says despite the clashes it will not remove metal detectors installed outside a major Jerusalem mosque, it could eventually reduce their use. In his weekly cabinet meeting, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "We're managing this level-headedly, determined and responsibly," adding that security measures would be decided in accordance with the situation on the ground.
מאז תחילת האירועים קיימתי סדרה של מפגשים והערכות מצב עם כל גורמי הביטחון, כולל הגורמים בשטח.
But Mr. Netanyahu's government is wary of being seen to capitulate to Palestinian pressure at the site, which Jews revered as the vestige of their two ancient temples, and which was amongst East Jerusalem areas captured by Israel in the 1967 war and annexed as its capital in a move not recognized internationally. Turkish President Tayyip Recep Erdogan was in Jeddah on Sunday to hold talks with Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud in an attempt to settle the rift between Qatar and her neighbors. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt cut ties and imposed sanctions on Qatar last month, accusing it of supporting terrorism, though Qatar denies the charges. On the list of demands made on the Qatari government weeks later was to shut down a Turkish military base in Qatar, curb relations with Iran, and close the Al Jazeera news channel. King Salman and President Erdogan discussed efforts to combat terrorism and its sources of funding. Kuwait, which is on the next leg of President Erdogan's visit to the Gulf, has been acting as mediator for countries as they seek to mend ties. Meanwhile, Qatari experts hope the Turkish president's intervention in the Gulf crisis would help de-escalate the impasse between Qatar and her neighbors. The president is expected to visit 3 Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Kuwait. They say that as a member of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Turkey enjoys close ties with Gulf countries, and on the other hand, its strategic interests in the Middle East are directly related with the conditions for resumption of diplomatic ties raised by the 4 boycotting countries. Therefore, Ankara has a unique role to play in the diplomatic efforts to help end the crisis.
Erdogan also, try to convince now that he can also, it will be for the security of all the GCC and also in the military industry. Saudi Arabia wants to enter in these sectors. Turkey has carrots to convince Saudi Arabia to be a partner and to find a resolution for this, because in these perspectives we are all partners, we are friends.
Other experts, however, fear that Turkey's pro-Qatar stance could weaken the effect of its dialogue with the Gulf countries. But they expect him to use his influence to mediate among the parties involved for a solution acceptable to both sides.
What he brings to the table is very different. He's trying to show support for the Qatari position, but he's also trying to play a regional moderating role as well. What Mr. Erdogan can say to the Saudis and to the Emiratis and others is say, Qatar has survived and it's going to continue to survive and we're going to continue to support it. And therefore, it's in your interests to de-escalate and find a solution to the crisis.